Good morning, good evening, or good night, wherever in the world you are. Hope you're having a great Monday and welcome to your latest Forest news. In today's episode, we will be giving you a quick injury update on the players that are currently out for Nottingham Forest and unlikely to feature in the upcoming match next Monday against Leeds United. And we are going to get into the formation debate. I've been and ahhing about this one, and I want to put a couple of formations forward to you guys with a couple of players in there. And then I would like your guys' feedback in the comments down below or in the live chat about what you think to them. Do you agree with them? Do you disagree with them? Or are you happy to stick with what we are currently doing right now? So before we get started, if you would be kind enough to support the channel with a quick like on the video, subscribe if you are new, and become a member for 99p and get all your Forest emojis. And finally, from me, I have a link to my Amazon affiliation down below. So if you're ever doing any shopping on Amazon and you would like to support the channel completely for free, if you just click on that link and then carry on with your shopping as per normal, Amazon will give me a thank you for guiding you to the channel, and I will thank you as well for supporting me. Let's get on with it and let's start with a quick injury update. So with the injuries, we've currently got three main players that are out. There's obviously Omar Richards, who hasn't featured at all for Forest with a hairline fracture in his leg. You've got Niakhate, who is a huge loss to us. And of course, Mangala, who I would argue is just as huge a loss to us as well. There's been many rumours and many discussions about how long each of these players will be out for. In Cook, we do trust, but when it comes to injury updates, I certainly do not, because he likes to play it like a poker hand. My understanding is that Niakhate is going to be, and Niakhate even, sorry, is not as long as we first anticipated, and there are signs that he may start to feature again towards the end of this month, which would be really, really welcome news, especially after I had my rant about the centre backs yesterday. If you haven't checked that video out, go have a look at it. In terms of Mangala, he's probably in and around the same time as Niakhate and will be coming back towards the end of this month. And with Omar Richards, the waters are still unclear. I would assume we will see him maybe just before the World Cup break, but it would be unlikely that he would get straight into the team. So realistically, if you're an Omar Richards fan, you may have to wait till after the World Cup to get your first glimmer of him in the Forest shirt. But outside of that, there's not too many other injuries. A lot of people were asking me about O'Brien. Why didn't he start? Is it because he's injured? Nope, no injury problems there at all. Rest of the team is just in recovery mode. And obviously they have a week now till our next game to really get match sharp. So that's the injury update. Now, for the main part of the video, let's talk about formations. I'm going to present to you a couple of formations and we're going to run through them. And I'm going to explain to you why I think these could work, or at the very least, why I think they should be tested out. Have a look at them, have a good think about it, and let me know which one you agree with and which one you would like to see, or which one you definitely don't want to see. At the end of the video, I'll point out to you which my preferred choice is. So let's jump into that now. Okay, so let's have a look at formation number one. I call it the 4-2-3-1. Everyone calls it the 4-2-3-1, I guess. But really, I want to look at this in terms of a sense of balance. For me, the three at the back isn't working, not because I don't think the formation works. You see the likes of Spurs and Chelsea, to a certain extent, do it very well. The rest of the Premier League tends to go with a four at the back in either a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1, or variations in some form or other of that. 3-5-2 works very well for us in the Championship, but the exposure of the pace of the centre-backs and the lack of technical ability from the likes of Cook and Worrell mean that they can't cover the wing-backs. The wing-backs in a 3-5-2 are extremely important, but the space they leave behind needs to be covered by the three. Anyway, we're not here to talk about that one. We're here to talk about the 4-2-3-1. Why I like this and why this gives decent balance is because of the kind of players we've signed. Now, I've put against each position who could play in that position, and I would probably go with the top line, if you see what I mean, across each position for my first choice. Yours might be different, or it might be the same. It's an opinion base, as we always say on the channel. Now, what I like to see is pace in the centre-backs and good technical ability. And in the likes of Niakhate and in the likes of Bade, we would get that because they are strong, they are pacey, they're well organized, and they can play in a back four. You'd also then, I get a lot of kind of questions asked back to me at how would the fullbacks work in the likes of Lodi and in the likes of Williams. What I say to that is both of these players are traditionally have played in a back four. Williams grew up in the Liverpool system playing in a back four. Lodi has games and games of experience in a back four in Atletico Madrid. So, although these guys would still go forward, which I like because that's when it works best. If you watch how the likes of Man City play, when you have Cancelo overlapping, when you have Walker overlapping on the wings, you could even argue, there's loads of Premier League teams that do it as well and end up leaving themselves with two centre backs at the back. The way this works is as long as you've got centre backs who are pacey, who can hold a high line, who can progress the ball forward, you can do it very well. Now, under no circumstances am I saying that Forest and Man City are side by side in part and in quality, but in terms of the way you want to progress, you want to look at how those big teams do perform. So, with the likes of Lodi and Williams, yes, they would be very attacking. They do get back. They don't get back quick enough at times, but what it does, it chokes the other team into their own half. Then you have the two sitting, pivoting, whatever you want to call it, CDMs/CMs in the middle. For me, this needs to be a combo of a ball player and a destructor. So, for example, I would go for something like Freuler and Mangala. If obviously this is again subject to fitness, Freuler would be there pulling the strings from a slightly deeper lined position, and he could bring in plays. He could bring in the overlappers in terms of Lodi plays it back to him, overlaps. He can switch the ball over, etc. And then you got Mangala there or an O'Brien, something like that who would be destructive and destroy the play, break the opponent's play up high up the pitch, and then allow Forest to keep that pressure on them. Football is about a game of pressure and momentum. When momentum gets built up, teams tend to crack, as we saw with Bournemouth on Saturday. And then in terms of the front four, I like this because what it will do, there's been a lot of weird heat put on Johnson. Now, I still argue, and I know some will say it's being hypocritical, but I still argue he is very important to the team. He has a lot to offer, and he has development road. Difference between him and the likes of Cook. Cook's at the end of his career. He's not going to improve. In fact, he's probably going to get worse. With Johnson, he's got the open road in front of him, can easily improve and easily get better. I feel with Johnson, it's the formation that's choking him. And a lot of people say, well, we were playing that formation last year and he was able to perform well in that, etc. I would say there was a lot of periods within the game where Johnson becomes obsolete in a match, but then he comes to life in seconds, puts a good finish in, gets a nice link-up play going between him and the likes of Jed Spence as it was last year. And that's what people tend to remember. They forget about the rest of the game. However, I would still argue that the formation is not helping him, where we're playing this false nine, where they're trying to do this fluid interchange. It's not working currently. And Johnson, as I've always said throughout the summer, it's better when he floats out to the right-hand side, because what he will do with his pace and his ability, he drags maybe a centre-back out with him, maybe a deep-lying CM with him. He breaks up the shape of the team we're playing against, and that ends up causing space and creating space for your other two. Dennis is more a winger in my eyes than a number 9. There are people that want him in as a number 9. Fine. Put your case forward with it for it. I have no problems with it at all. And then Gibbs White sitting there in the cam position. Now you could put Jesse Lingard in there. For me, never been a massive fan of Jesse, been willing to give him a chance. But with Gibbs White in the team, when you play Gibbs White and Jesse in the same team, in roughly the same position as we've done for the last few matches, I feel it hinders Gibbs White, who clearly to me has been the better player. Up front, you could have the argument for Uwonyi, or you could put Sam Surridge in, or maybe Dennis, some of you would say, or even Johnson. I'm not too fussed about who the personnel is. As long as those two slow coaches at the back come out in the likes of Worrell and Cook, and as long as we're not seeing, Yates being the creative force. I think Yates as an impact sub will work well off the bench, maybe if we're 1-0 up or what have you. Him coming on is good, like we saw him do at Everton. But Jesse Lingard, to me, doesn't look fit. It's been well over, 6-7 weeks he's been at Forest now, and the same excuses are still coming out. He's passing the ball sideways too much for my liking, but Gibbs White gets the ball and he wants to drive forward. This is formation number one, and I do kind of like it. I do think we have the players to do it. Let's jump into formation two and get your guys' opinions on that as well. Okay, so formation two, this is your more orthodox 4-3-3, would be what it tends to be called, where you're playing and looking for width. And Cooper is a fan of width in the team. As we see, he likes to play with wing backs. What you've done here really is drop the attacking person in the team. So say where I had the number 10 before in the 4-2-3-1, and you're putting more of a brick wall across the middle. So for me, if you wanted to play this formation, you could go with the likes of Freuler, Mangala, and O'Brien across the three. Maybe Coyote there instead of an O'Brien or a Mangala, who would sit slightly behind the two and cause an inverted triangle, if you like, as a CDM there. Again, I think that would work quite nicely. The only thing I don't like about it is I like to have a number 10 within the team, someone who's playing high up the line who can, charge into the box, dribble into the box, etc. But you do have more reliance on width here. So for me, it's a good formation. It works. There's a lot of teams that do it well within the Premier League, and a lot of teams switch into this formation if they're looking to become more attacking. Because what it will do, it will stretch your opponents out wide, leaving holes in between the kind of vertical lines on the playing field. So I'm not opposed to this one. Again, it would be a bit less, it'd be more risky, on the two centre backs it'd be less risky on the two centre backs, should I say, as well, because you're giving them the added protection of an extra body in the middle of the park, but it just hinders you slightly attacking forward from the middle, and then you're relying on a lot of box-to-box players. Someone like Freuler would fit in well in the system, but having a Mangala and O'Brien is probably going to be overkill in my opinion. So maybe in this instance, you would bring a Yates in to put it a 3 across the middle. But overall, this too could work as a formation. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And then finally, the last one I want to share with you guys today is one of my old school favorites, is the Diamond, the 4-1-2-1-2. This has a lot of pros to it and a lot of cons to it, and let me talk you through a few of them now. You're now playing with two out-and-out strikers, which a lot of people have been saying to me they want to see. They want to see that Nigerian combo of Dennis and Iwoni up front. What it does as well is give you a number 10, which I do really like, and then you've got basically three sitting in the middle, where two sit higher up to the left-hand central side and right-hand central side, and you get a CDM who then protects the back line as well. What it costs you, though, is width going forward, because those three in the middle tend to be quite narrow when you play the diamond formation in its traditional sense, and it becomes reliant on the fullbacks getting forward to overlap, which then creates exposure in behind in those channels as well. However, I can see how this formation would work for Forest, with the likes of Loddy and Williams being at the back. My worry with it is whenever I've played in a diamond formation, be it in the team I coach or myself back in my more youthful days, you tend to find that you lose that width, as I said, but you also can lose numbers in the midfield if it's not drilled incorrectly, because the number 10 ends up playing too high, the number 6 ends up playing too deep, and you end up with just two in the middle against usually a 3 or a 4 against the opposition team. So you do need to be careful with it. However, with the players we've got, this was drilled in well. I think it could work quite well for the Forest team and squad that we do have. But let me know your thoughts on that one as well. Look, there are 3 or 4 other formations we could talk about. A flat 4-4-2. We could talk about an inverted 3-1-2-1. We could talk about a 3-5-2-1. There's loads of different options that could be done. But for me, one of those 3 would work quite well, because we're going into a back 4, which is more suitable for the players we've got currently, including the likes of Warrow, who I think would actually be better suited in a back 4 than a back 3. But overall, if I had to pick one, for me, it's the 4-2-3-1. It's the best balance of all the formations. It gives you width, it gives you bodies in the middle, and it gives you options up front as well. And with the player set that we've currently got, that would be my choice for the formation. But I think it's a good discussion to have. And I think whatever side of the fence you are, angry, happy, whatever, sad, ecstatic as a Forest fan now, it doesn't matter when it comes to a formation discussion, because this is something that's always fun to discuss as football fans. And after the weekend we've had, why not? Let's have a bit of fun and talk about it. So let me know in the comments below which formation you prefer. If you don't like any of those, let me know what your favorite formation is. And before you leave, as we wrap up the video, if you wouldn't mind giving the video a quick like and subscribe to the channel if you are new here. Again, if you want to become a member, it's 99p. Just hit the join button. And finally, if you're doing any Amazon shopping and want to support me completely free of charge, please do click my link below. Thank you guys for watching. Look forward to reading your comments. I'll see you on the next video. Come on, you Reds.